As essential as smartwatches have become in our everyday lives, there are so many players in the game currently, from the Apple Watch to LG to Samsung to Huawei and so many others. And getting the right one is the most important thing, because if you don't, you're just going to waste money and you're just going to waste your time. So that's why I'm here. Sometime last month, I reviewed the Fossil Sport smartwatch and its great features, and today I'm putting that side by side with the Samsung Gear Sport watch or sport smartwatch. Now, the best thing is that it's not for people that are just into fitness, it's basically for everybody. And yes, I'm wearing both on my hand currently. So let's get this party started. Right before we get into this video, I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be great if I can get there in great time, so please consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I drop videos like this every week. Jumping right in, let's begin with the body and display of both watches. Starting with the Samsung Gear Sport, the display is a Super AMOLED 1.2-inch display that is super bright in the daytime as well as nighttime, of course. Samsung are still miles ahead in terms of displays in the smartphone industry and have applied that within their own smartwatches. The watch's hardware is 5 ATM or atmosphere, which basically means it can withstand water pressure up to 50 meters and can also take salt water if you want to take a dive in the ocean. Now, speaking of hardware, at first glance it looks really heavy, and you're very correct. It's 64 grams and it weighed a lot on my hand as hours went by. I found myself removing it every moment I could so I could let my hand breathe just a little bit, and it was very uncomfortable. And I'm pretty sure some people have had the feeling of, just a heavy watch on their wrist. It's also not my favorite design, as the watch and face body is bulky, and I prefer a watch that is a bit more quiet than what Samsung was giving me. The Fossil Sport, on the other hand, the display does not match that of the Samsung Gear Sport, but it's still bright enough to see during the day. Right outside the box, it has better watch faces pre-installed, but you can download Facer and use it on both watches. The Fossil Sport comes at 36 grams, which is almost half the weight of the Samsung Gear Sport. It's made with a combination of aluminum and nylon, which makes the watch incredibly light, so light you actually forget you're wearing one on your hand. Like the Samsung Gear Sport, the Fossil Sport is a 5 ATM water resistance and can go up to 50 meters underwater. Samsung dominates with its hardware and display. It's very premium on your wrist and can take the dent of everyday life. Now, the Fossil Sport isn't too far behind, and it doesn't wear your wrist out. I'm sorry, I can't even say that with a straight face. It doesn't wear your wrist out with its weight and size. So for this round, I have to give it to the Fossil Sport smartwatch. I mean, what exactly is the point of having a great watch if you're going to be removing it every 2 hours? Beats me, really. Now, one of the reasons why people hate buying smartwatches is for the fact that they have to charge it every now and then. They already charge their smartphone, they charge their laptop, they charge their earphones, and having to charge a smartwatch with a separate charger entirely, a lot of people aren't having it. It's impossible to have a watch that doesn't need to charge, unless Apple, Samsung, and maybe Huawei or somebody can give us a solar-powered smartwatch. Come to think of it, I wonder why nobody has done that by now. Maybe we'll see that in 2021, I don't know. But for now, we'll settle for what we have. The Samsung Gear has a 300 milliamp hour battery with its own unique wireless charger that uses a micro USB and not USB-C. You can't charge this one with a cheap charger, it has to be the one that comes with the box. The battery life on the Samsung Sport is pretty good. The 300 milliamp hour battery gives it approximately 3 to 4 days depending on your usage. But for me, 3 to 4 days is exactly what I got. The always on display hits the battery pretty hard, which reduces the overall life to about 2 days, which isn't so bad, to be very honest. I'll take an always on display any day as opposed to put it on my wrist whenever I need to see the time. I usually charge my watch when I'm about to go to bed, so by morning I get 100% battery for the next couple of days, which is pretty great. On the other end of the spectrum, the Fossil Sport watch lags behind in comparison to the Samsung Gear Sport. With the always on display, you're looking at a day and a half, max 2 days, and that is depending on your usage, which is really stretching it. Charging is slightly quicker on the Fossil Sport, as it gives an hour or an hour and a half to get to 100%. But as usual, I charge mine before I go to bed. One odd thing about both watches is the fact that the Fossil Sport has a bigger battery than the Samsung Gear Sport with 50 milliamp hours more, making it 350, which says a lot about the OS, which I'll come to in a second. In terms of who has a better battery life between both watches, I'll have to give it to the Fossil Sport smartwatch. Okay, I'm just messing about. The Samsung Gear Sport has a better battery life and blows the Fossil Sport out of the water with its better battery life and battery maintainers that can give you 3 to 4 days of battery life when you're not near a charger. Now, for some people, this would be a deal breaker because some people just hate charging everything around them every single time. So, Samsung Gear Sport, better battery life, takes this round. The Tizen operating system from the Samsung Gear Sport, it's stupid fast and really smooth. Apart from giving you a great experience, it allows you to do much more with your watch. For example, it allows you to open a mini WhatsApp within your watch to see the chats. It also gives you more automatic responses as well as using the S voice, or enables you to draw your responses, which I've probably only used once since the day I got it and never used again. It's more of a gimmick than being part of your everyday life. The rotating crown on the surface allows you to navigate from the menu, apps, and settings, which brings me to the problem with Tizen OS. Samsung, with its urge to push the Samsung Store, greatly limits the amount of apps that are available in the App Store and for the watch itself. And that makes it kind of boring when you can have the apps within the Google App Store. In terms of gestures and navigations, the Gear Sport is behind and using the top knob to go back as opposed to just swiping back. It might be a nitpick, but I'm used to gestures on the Pixel phones and I like that on the watches that I use. Also, it suffers the same fate as the Samsung flagships or phones with not too many updates. The last update for the Samsung Gear Sport was on May 2019. The Sport in its name isn't just there for fun. The Gear Sport uses Samsung Health to track your calories, how many steps you've taken, and your heart rate. It also detects when you're about to start a workout, which is so great for people that don't really want to tamper with their watch. They just want to go in and go out. It tracks workouts like your running, weightlifting, hiking, and others. As you're wondering, it doesn't really give the most accurate data when you're working out. For example, I was climbing up my stairs and it thought I was cycling, which is just very wrong. Like I said in my review of my Fossil Sport smartwatch, YOS has built a solid foundation and has improved from the first few versions. With those improvements, there are still things that need tweaking. The performance isn't as great or as smooth as Tizen OS, as you have trouble opening apps as well as loading times, which takes a few seconds, but those few seconds are very, very long. The silver lining are the gesture navigations that make the user experience a bit better. The top knobs are for shortcuts, my Google Assistant is quick with its responses, and best of all, I have access to Google Play Store. The Fossil Sport has the holy quadruple of NFC for wireless payments, GPS, a heart rate sensor, and Bluetooth, which is why most people might go for this watch itself. Speaking of heart rates, the watch comes with Google Fit, which has a ton of different ways to track whatever workout you're about to do. From basketball to baseball to football to biking, it even has P90X. It really has almost every sport, so it's great for people who want to track everything they do. Both watches have a very good operating system. Samsung is fluid with their OS and will not give whoever buys it stress when navigating the watch itself. It lacks apps and it also lacks gesture navigations, which personally for me, I don't like. It also does not have the plethora of workouts that the Fossil Sport has, so by close margin, I'll probably have to give it to the Fossil Sport for a few reasons. One, it has Google Play Store that is active so you can download whatever app you have so far is compatible with the watch. Two, it has Google Assistant. Three, it has so many workouts that you can track that the word sport resonates more with the Fossil than it does Samsung Gear. With all these features, hardware, and display, the Samsung Gear Sport goes for $200 on the Samsung website, and I'm pretty sure you can get deals on eBay and Amazon. While on the other hand, Fossil goes for $99, and I'm pretty sure you can also find deals on eBay and Amazon. Clearly, the cheaper version is the Fossil Sport, but with all these things that I've mentioned, which is the watch for you? Well, the Samsung Gear Sport has very little flaws. It has a great display, has a great battery, and an operating system that won't give you much of a headache. While the Fossil Sport, on the other hand, is a lightweight watch that gives you everything Google has to offer. My pick for everyone has to be the Fossil Sport. You're getting a watch that is the best value for money currently and is priced at $99. You're getting a YOS with a great design with very few missing features, a body and weight so light it will not make your hand feel uncomfortable after a while. Yeah, that's it. Do you agree with my pick, or do you use any of these watches, or are you considering getting one of them? Comment below and let me know. Also, clicking the like button is the best way to help me out, and if you're new here, you should consider subscribing as I release videos like this every week, and the best way or the best time to see them first is through a subscription. Thanks for watching. My name is KJOS, and I'll catch you guys in the next one where we talk all things tech. Today is a very good day. Oof, as you can see, there's no hats today. Today I got a cut for the first time in about 60 to 90 days. I'm not even really counting. Just look at this.